Hi guys, welcome back to Planet Mithril. My name is Mithril, and today I have for you my take on how to paint the Dragon Cult Acolytes of the Easterlings. That's right, I'm taking another trip to the runish regions of Middle-earth today and tackling another one of the newer resin sculpts from Games Workshop. Some seriously lovely sculpted detail over these sculpts, who have also gone higher up in my estimation since painting my own one here. Now I'll be showing you how to match the tone of your Easterling armour with that characteristic gold and red which is synonymous with the region, and also tackling a slightly different skin tone and their super sneaky, almost shadow-like robes to keep this assassin obscured from unfriendly eyes. My Dragon Cult Acolyte will be working off a black undercoat which I've applied with Citadel Chaos Black Spray. Let's get to it guys, brush is ready! I'm starting by base coating my Dragon Cult Acolyte's exposed arms, hands, neck and small bit of face visible within the helmet and hood using Bugman's Glow. All the golden armour now is being base coated using Gehenna's Gold. This includes the helmet, any exposed chest plate, arm guards, knee guards, dagger hilt and the decoration over the sheaths. As Gehenna's Gold can be patchy over a black undercoat, I would advise a few coats to make sure this adheres properly. All of the Dragon Cult Acolytes' robes, boots and leg coverings are being base coated using a 1-to-1 mix of Abaddon Black and Naggaroth Night. The cloth hanging down the front of his waist now is being base coated using Corn Red. The upper trousers around the thighs and the dagger sheaths sitting on the reverse are all being picked out now using Doomball Brown. The belt sitting on his waist and housing some of the throwing weapons now is being picked up using Rhinox Hide. The knife blades and any of the hundreds of throwing knives over his body are being base coated with Lead Belcher. There are a few spots on the model I haven't base coated yet, but these will be tackled later on when the most of the model is done. The face, neck and forearms now are being shaded back using Reichland Flesh Shade. Now the gold is getting two separate shades, the first being with a slightly more diluted Druchii Violet, which when dry will help heighten the reflections within the plate itself. With the first shade now dry, I'm applying a second, slightly heavier shade now using Agrak Surf Shade to tone the gold down. The black robes now are being shaded back using Druchii Violet. This won't be as harsh as a Nuln shade would be here at this point, and will react really well with the Naggaroth Night in the base coat mix. The red sash is now being shaded using Caribou Crimson. The belt, upper trousers and sheaths now are being shaded using Agrak Surf Shade. Probably should have done this with the gold to save time, but hey ho, work smarter than me guys. Finally, the blades and throwing knives are being shaded using Nuln Oil. A blocking layer is being applied to define the muscly forearms and what little you can actually see of the face and neck using a 1-to-1 mix of Bugman's Glow and Ungor flesh, leaving the Reikland flesh shade showing in the recesses. I'm continuing to build up the definition of his arms, hands and face now by adding Kislev flesh into my mix at a rough 2-to-1 ratio, starting to push this towards the upper and outer curves of muscles to build up my blend. I've continued to add Kislev flesh into my mix until I'm ready to start my first upper level highlight, and for this I'm going to be using pure Kislev flesh. You can see how the gradual blend from the more shaded recessed muscle through to these upper lighter levels is really striking over all this detail. A final edge highlight to further frame the outer curves of muscles and dot along the knuckles now is being applied with a 2-to-1 mix of Kislev flesh and Pallid Witch flesh. Finally, if you're feeling brave enough to tackle the eyes, and I don't blame you if you're not, you can paint them in using Abaddon Black, and I've then finished them off with Pallid Witch flesh. The golden armour has been given a layer now with Liberator Gold. You can see how I'm focusing this on the edges and framing the individual gold segments, leaving the rich reflective gold showing in the recesses. With the spikier parts in particular, dragging this over the upper points to give a hint of malice and sharpness befitting the Easterlings. Finally, an extreme edge highlight and dot highlight respectively is being applied to the sharpest points of gold just to give a little extra glint of light and reflection and reinforce the brutality in the Easterling design. Finally, a glaze is being applied to all the gold now using heavily diluted Seraphim Sepia. I want to be heightening the slight purple tones of my Acolyte's robes, almost creating a sense of being shrouded in shadow, ready to strike at a moment's notice. So to do this, I'm adding some Phoenician purple into my original base coat mix, and focusing on separating out the ridges, folds and larger sections of material, leaving my shade showing in the recesses. I'm continuing to layer up my Acolyte's robes and cloth now by adding some deepkin flesh into the previous layering mix. This is a slightly more complicated mixture, but by avoiding the starker and slightly more dull grey tones themselves, I feel bring a lot more character and uniqueness to my model. Now you don't need to see multiple stages of me adding deepkin flesh gradually into my mix and highlighting up the robes until reaching this, my final edge highlight, but by the time you do reach this stage, you'll be highlighting with more or less a pure deepkin flesh. I would suggest an absolute minimum of 3 parts deepkin to 1 part layer mix depending on how bright you want this to be, and picking out the upper curves, folds and edges of material, again trying to be nice and sharp to almost mirror the armour. I'm finishing up the black robes now with a glaze, once again using heavily diluted Druchii Violet. The main body of the sash is being layered up using a 1-to-1 mix of Corn Red and Evil Sun Scarlet, leaving the Caribou Crimson showing in the recesses. With a second layer now being applied using pure Evil Sun Scarlet. Finally, I'm adding an edge highlight to the upper folds using a 1-to-1 mix of Evil Sun Scarlet and Ungor Flesh. The trousers and the casing of the dagger sheaths are now being given a layer using Tuscaur fur, outlining the rigid leather of the sheaths in particular. This is then being followed by a quick highlight using a 1-to-1 mix of Tuscaur fur and deepkin flesh. All the belts, straps and little dagger holsters now are being layered using a 1-to-1 mix of Rhinox hide and Baneblade brown. With an edge highlight being applied to the upper and lower edge of the straps and belt now, using pure Baneblade brown to give it a bit of a sun-bleached effect. The edges of the blade and the little throwing daggers are now being highlighted using Stormhost Silver. Finally, with the rest of the model done, the small golden symbol at the top of the sash is being picked out using Gehenna's Gold. And highlighted quickly using Liberator Gold. Another glorious addition to the throngs of Easterling forces, striking out from the shadows, unleashing flurries of tiny blades before diving into combat. The Cult of the Dragon Emperor has some truly stunning and super fun to paint models, and I hope you've enjoyed my take on painting up these acolytes today. For basing tips and tricks, please head over and check out my 5-minute bases playlist. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and hit that bell to make sure you never miss a Mithril upload. Thank you so much to all our patrons. Your support helps keep the lights on over here at Mithril Towers, and it's very, very much appreciated. You can support us over there, link in the description below. But until next time guys, take care, and as always, happy hobbying. Bye guys.